Hello, and welcome to Chucked and Blessed, where the weird gets wonderful and the woo-woo gets real. I'm your host, Charles Crooks, psychic, teacher, and guide on this deep dive into grounded spirituality. Let's keep it honest, curious, and connected. Here we go. Well, hello, my friends, and welcome to the last episode of the very first season of Chucked and Blessed. First off, I cannot thank everyone enough for listening, especially those that have listened from start to finish this entire season. And while I never expect anyone to adopt what I believe, especially fully, I hope that it has given another perspective to something that already has a lot of voices out there already. So if you have enjoyed this podcast, please rate it, share it with others who might be into it, or anyone else who might even be curious about this stuff and doesn't know where to begin. I very much believe that you are all smart people, and it has been shoved down our throats to like, to subscribe, to comment, and to do all those things. So that is exactly why I do not ask you to do every episode. So I really, truly appreciate the participation that everyone has given so far, and hope for more with those that find this after its initial airing. So initially, when I set out to do this podcast, my vision was to share grounded and realistic views of spirituality and spiritual practices, especially compared to what our current media and social media promise out there. So, and as the dictionary states, spirituality is a practice of love and gratitude, and that's it. That's really all it says. And it's purely that simple. Therefore, I really believe that that meaning should carry through all of the tools that we use to help us practice. And they should allow us deeper ways to find love and compassion and kindness to ourselves, so we can then extend that to others. I think we sometimes get tripped up in the mystical of it all, or the magical components of everything. And a lot of time people's egos also get in the way of that practice, making it really no different than a lot of religions today. So I remind you to ask yourself, if you do encounter a new teaching, a new practice, a new tool, or a new method, whatever it is, to really just ask, what is the point of this? And does it take me back to the original purpose of love and gratitude? And if it doesn't, that's okay. But at the same time, I probably wouldn't call it spiritual. And I would really evaluate it to see if that's something I even want to participate in. And so that's going to take us to today's episode. And I thought that I would give some basic exercises to experience and to enhance your clairvoyance, as that only seems right as a podcast about all psychic things. And once again, just to reiterate really quick, clairvoyance literally means clear sight. And so the techniques that we're going to be doing are really to strengthen that inner sight and that inner vision and focus as well. So I've kind of broken this down into a few different components. So I've got two talking points to start with, and then we're just going to jump right into the exercises so you can try it all out yourself. Alrighty, so I believe that the very first component to psychic success is belief itself. So belief that you can do this is really going to be paramount to this entire process. Do you need to believe that you're going to be the world's next greatest psychic? No. But I very much believe that if you have the belief of you being capable, that you can do so, and that being psychic is a very natural part of who you are, I think that is an excellent mindset to start with. So, just having the belief that you can do it, you are able to do it, is very important. I think it's very okay to not know what you're experiencing at first, as a lot of people will question, am I making this up? Or is this just coming to me? And I think the best answer for that is you're really only going to learn with practice. And so with practice, I realized that my thoughts that I intentionally created versus my intuitive images, things that just came to me, each one came with different feelings or kind of different quality of feeling. And so for me, being psychic and connecting in with my psychic abilities really just is about slipping into a specific way of feeling. But it takes practice on being able to find what that feeling is for yourself. And I really think it's important to note that when it comes to different people and our natural psychic abilities, that I don't think they're all going to express in the same ways for everyone. And that's totally fine. But if you might try my way and you're not having success with it, it doesn't mean that you're not psychic or that you're not able to connect in with it. Sometimes you just have to try various methods, and that's why I think having all those different tools and practices out there is really good, because there's so many different ways of getting to the same place. So even if you don't find success with what I give you today or with any of my practices, try someone else, try different methods, because there's so many different nuances, I think, that comes with experiencing your psychic self. And when it comes to psychicness as a natural ability, just like other existing natural abilities like artistic ability or athletic ability, you're going to find people that are more naturally inclined to success with less effort compared to those that have to practice over and over and over again. So just like any other skill, even if you happen to do the exercises in this today and don't feel success, I don't want you to feel discouraged, because just like any other skill, you have to practice, you have to give it the time, and you have to give it the intention. So just to reiterate, component number 1 is belief in yourself. It does not matter what your natural psychic ability is, and you might not even know what that looks like yet, but you still have to believe that you are capable and can do it. All right, the second component that I feel is very important to psychic success is the space that you allow yourself to be in. And so just like in the last one that I said, to me, being psychic is a feeling, this is exactly that feeling that I find success being able to connect to that part of myself. So the feeling that you want is a relaxed space of curiosity and openness. There are 2 primary ways that I like to try and get myself into this space. And one is I will intentionally call in the feeling of acceptance. When I try to accept everything that is going on in my day, everything that is happening in the world, it can often put me in a space that is very neutral and kind of reduces that mind chatter. So I feel like there's less competition going on in my mind, and I can be a lot more open and just a lot more willing to participate. And the second way that I like to use is oftentimes before I start readings for myself, I like to throw out the intention of, let's just see what happens. And it really kind of takes away a lot of the performance anxiety that I have before I go into readings, or even worries about being right, or worried that what I'm going to see is not going to be validated or will not connect with the person that I'm reading. So these are just 2 very, very easy little ways. And I mean, even acceptance as an emotion needs to be practiced if you're not used to feeling that. So it definitely takes time to build up to that. But I feel like the let's just see what happens is a really easy and light way to just kind of put you in a space of curiosity, in a space of willingness. So on the other side of things, I find emotions like anticipation, expectation, and even trying too hard or putting in too much effort are all inner sight killers. And I guess one of the best ways that I could kind of describe this or relate to this to myself is that I don't know if you've ever woken up from a really good dream, and as soon as you're up and aware, if you have the ability to sleep more, then you want to get back into that dream. And any time that I would intentionally try to get back to it and tried to effort myself there, it would never happen. I would never get there. But on the opposite side of that, the times where I would just really make no effort to get back to that dream, that I would just close my eyes, go back to sleep, I would find that things would just kind of pick up where they left off. And so I think sometimes in our media that when we watch them as far as like psychic powers go, that they usually will show the characters putting forth a lot of effort. And sometimes you might even see them straining a bit, like they might put their hands up to their head, to the temples. The head might shake. They might have their hands shake. The whole body might shake. But it really kind of implies this straining, or that it's a really hard thing to do, hard thing to make these psychic things happen. But I find that in reality and in real life, it's exactly the opposite. And that psychic intention and psychic flow happens when we kind of step out of the way and let it happen and just experience it. So if you want to find success, I say we have to step out of our own way and just let it happen, let it flow. So, to reiterate this point, we want to be relaxed, we want to go in nice and easy, and we don't need to force things. And just keep in mind, too, in a nutshell, really, don't take it too seriously and have fun while you're doing this. I think sometimes we get too serious when we try to practice these things, but we can easily keep it light, keep it enjoyable, keep it fun. Alrighty, now on to the actual exercises themselves. So first up, we're going to practice a technique that helps you strengthen and develop your visual sight in your own mind, often referred to as seeing things in your mind's eye. So I have found this exercise to be extremely beneficial when it comes time to practicing my visual focus, allowing me to keep my focus strong and steady during longer readings. It also helps me be aware of what I'm feeling from different perspectives, which can also be very beneficial when doing psychic readings. So, for this exercise, you are actually going to start with your eyes open. As usual, I like to sit upright comfortably in a chair. For me, I don't really find it doesn't matter if the legs are crossed or if they're flat on the ground. I feel you can go either way. But for this, we're going to start with the eyes open, and I want you to take a few nice deep breaths. And with every breath, I want you to let the next one become a little bit slower and a little bit deeper. And just allow your vision to soften. It might even go hazy if you want, but we're not really looking to fully close the eyes yet. And you can go ahead and let go of your day. With every breath, just let go of what's going on in your world. And now is a good time to wiggle things out if you would like. If you find anything in the body that needs attention, to just give it a little wiggle and take a nice deep breath. And let the eyes relax. And before we close our eyes, I want you to take your dominant hand and reach up to the top of your head where there is a 1-inch version of yourself standing at the top of your head. And you're going to grab them gently and place them down upon your knee. While keeping your breath nice and steady, on the count of 3, I'm going to have you close your eyes. And in that moment, when you close your eyes, you are going to transfer your awareness to that little self that is standing on your knee right now. So here we go, breathing nice and steady. 1, 2, 3, and your eyes are closed. And so now I want you to bring your awareness to the closed eyes of your little self that is standing on top of your knee still. See what it feels like to move your arms from your little you. Imagine what it feels like to pull up your legs. And imagine what it feels like even to stand on your squishy flesh. And now on the count of 3 again, I am going to have you open your little self's eyes as your big self still keeps your eyes closed, but your little self is going to look around at the perspective from that little body and see the room around you. So I would imagine that things are probably going to get very large, change quite different size-wise. So just take a moment to realize what that's going to look like. Again, keeping the breath nice and steady. And now on the count of 3, your little self is going to open his or her eyes. So 1, 2, 3, and your little self's eyes are open. And all I want you to do from your mind's eye, from your self's mind's eye, is to experience and to see what that perspective sees, what your little self sees from being down on your knee. What do things look like as you look around? When you turn back towards your body, you can see your entire body that looks like a mountain. And also, while you're in this space, pay attention to how it feels. Does it feel natural to be in here or have this perspective? Does it feel uncomfortable or difficult to be down here? We don't need to judge the feeling either way. We just want to pay attention and to be aware. All right, and then we're going to do this one more time. So your big self, eyes still closed. Your little self, eyes open, seeing with the mind's eye. And I want you to take your dominant hand again. And this time, I want you to place your little you up on your left shoulder. And once again, all I want you to do is see from that perspective in your mind's eye of what is it like to be 1 inch tall on your shoulder. What do you see? And look around in all directions. Look back towards your ear, towards the neck. Look down over the shoulder. Does it have a different quality of feeling than it did when you were on your knee? Is it easier to see from this perspective up here than maybe it was down on your knee? All I want you to do is just be aware and to observe. And now we're going to do 2 counts of 3. On the first count of 3, once I hit 3, your little self is just going to poof and vanish away. And then on the second count of 3, your big self is going to open your eyes again. So still keeping that breath nice and steady. 1, 2, 3. We're just going to let go of that little self that was on your shoulder. And I want you to slowly just wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes, bringing the awareness back to your big self, your big body. And when you are ready, go ahead and open your eyes. And after this exercise, I feel that it's really good to document what you experience so you can remember it and go back to it. Whether that's writing things down, journaling a bit, I always find really great processing through writing. So for me, that is a very good way to kind of put these things down and remember these experiences. And maybe your experience kind of came and went. Maybe you were able to focus the whole time, or maybe you had a difficult time focusing. I think that's all really good to note and to not judge it either way, but to just say, all right, here's how it went, and I can try again. So just know, of course, that you can try any of these at any time. And the more that you try them, also try putting yourself in different other places. Maybe you might want to put them up by the window, or it doesn't have to be on your body. I just like the body proximity because it still feels close and connected to you. So, but play around with it. Even maybe put them above your body, floating in space. What would that look and feel like? So again, play around with it. Have some fun. But okay, on we go to the next exercise, which is more of a visual exercise. Okay, for this next exercise, I find this one to be very beneficial to help with what I was talking about earlier, about not really knowing whether you are producing something in your mind or whether you are allowing it to happen. So, once again, go ahead and get comfortable in your seat. Go ahead and wiggle anything out that you need to. And we're going to close the eyes this time and slow the breath, letting each breath become a little bit slower and deeper than the last. And this time, to start, I want you to imagine that little you, not outside of your body, but inside your own head, and kind of behind the eyes in the middle of the head. And I usually kind of see them in just an empty space where they can walk around. But this is the space where we want to hold our attention as we tap into our clairvoyance or tap into our kind of mind's eye or second sight. Oftentimes, this area is associated with our 6th chakra, which is the chakra of clear seeing and clairvoyance. So we want to be able to hold our attention in this space as we do the exercise. And I think that the little person of just having that visual as it's familiar is a great way to start. But then you can let it go once you feel like that you're holding your attention decently well within your head. And now, after you've let your little you go and we still have the focus in the middle of the head, I want you to conjure up intentionally in your mind's eye, to use your imagination intentionally to see an image of an apple. Now that apple can look however you want it to look. I want you to think about the shape and the size and the color and how that apple looks. Maybe you see a 3D apple in your head. Maybe you see an image of an apple that's 2D, like on a page of paper. Maybe you even might see it like a moving image or like a little movie. But just be aware of how you intentionally create that apple. And I even want you to be aware of what you're feeling in this space as well. And you might not even know right now what you're feeling, and that's totally okay. You might just feel like you. But the more that you practice this, the more of these quieter nuances you will start to understand and start to feel. So we're just seeing the apple of our own creation in our mind and seeing what that feels like. Okay, so now I want you to let that image go. You can let it float off, you can burn it up, you can blow it up, whatever feels good, but just let it disappear on out of there. It could even turn into a fog and just blow away in the wind. But let that image leave your mind space. And now we're going to do this one more time, but we're going to do it slightly differently. Instead of creating the apple in our mind, I want you to allow it. So take a nice deep breath and just kind of clear your mind as best as you can, still holding the attention in the middle of your mind. And I just want you to set the intention within yourself that you want to see an apple and just allow it to appear. And maybe it might be similar to the first one. Maybe it's completely different. But I just want you to pay attention once again to how this looks, how you're seeing it. But then also, how does this feel compared to when you intentionally created it? Does this apple feel the same way like the other? And again, maybe you're not aware of the nuances, and that's okay. But just allow yourself to pay attention. And after you feel like you have an understanding of what this apple looks like and how it feels to be in this space, maybe different than the other, maybe you're not sure, maybe it all feels the same right now, it's okay. But with a nice deep breath, go ahead and let this apple go from your mind's eye again, just like we did the last one. And start to wiggle your fingers and your toes again. And when you are ready, open your eyes and come back to your space. And now would be a great time to even pause and take some notes, or however you want to reflect on this one. But just so we can start to document, how did the two experiences differ from each other? And there's no right or wrong answer into this. All we're looking for is the observation of how it went and how it felt. Okay, nice work, everyone. On to the last one. And for this last one, we're going to kind of put it all together, and we're actually going to try to get meaning from what we see in our mind's eye now. So, you've probably guessed it. You're going to close your eyes, and you're going to get comfortable again. And you're going to start to slow your breathing, letting each breath become a little bit slower and deeper than the last. And we're going to start the exact same way that we did the last exercise, with putting our focus in the middle of the head. And you can see your little U in there if that helps you. And again, we're holding our focus up here because this is where our strongest energy is for our clairvoyance. And now, just like we did on the second apple, I would like you to set the intention that we are going to see a color for how your energy is right now. And all we're going to do after we set that intention is just allow something to come to us in our mind's eye. And maybe that might be immediate for some of you. Maybe for others it might just still be black. And that's okay either way. The whole point is for you to try and to practice again. So again, there's no right or wrong answer in the process of this. But we're just asking to see a color that represents your energy right now. And so if you have a visual, let's start with that. Let's pay attention to, first of all, what that visual is. Do you see a color by itself? Do you see a color represented in an object? Do you see a color represented within a movie within your mind? Or maybe you didn't even see a color. Maybe you heard one. Or maybe you even saw the word of the color in your mind. Or maybe you even just heard it from a voice in your own head. So again, there's no right or wrong in how you can experience this. We're just looking for ways of how this comes to us. And now, secondly, I want you to pay attention to the feeling that comes with this color. Now, for this, I'm intentionally not going to give any color meanings, just because I want you to experience what this meaning is for you. Because you have to keep in mind that yellow might be a very positive color for some, but for others it might represent negative things. We all have different connections and different meaning that we have through our lives that we attach to things. So there's no right or wrong. You might see light blue, again, as positive. Someone else might see it as negative, and that's okay. But again, we're just paying attention to the feeling that comes with this color. And maybe it might even feel neutral to you. But that as well is worth noting. And lastly, I want you to ask this color, what message does it have for you about your energy? And again, we're not looking to try to create any answers. We're just allowing for that message to come to us. And now I want you to take a few nice deep breaths. Again, wiggling the fingers and the toes, just kind of coming back to be more present within the body. And you can go ahead and open your eyes whenever you are ready. Alrighty, my friends. That is going to conclude this episode and wrap up this whole season. I wish you nothing but the best on your psychic journey forward and within your self-discovery. And as always, if you have any questions, comments, discussions that you want to have, you can please email me at info@charlescrooks.com. You can also find me on the socials. I believe Instagram is Charles R. Crooks. You do need that R in there to find me. And on TikTok, it is at Chucked and Blessed. So just at the podcast name. Alrighty, everyone. I will see you in a short while for Meditation Monday's return as I release bonus meditations at the end of this season. And I'm probably going to take a week off before that happens and before I start posting those on Mondays. But those are just going to be little short bonuses that I hope you enjoy and try out for yourself as people have liked them in the past. So thank you for being here. I honestly cannot thank you enough for listening. And that is it for now. Thank you, as always, for being here and being open. You can visit charlescrooks.com or email directly at info@charlescrooks.com to book a reading. May you be forever chucked and blessed and always go into this world with clear eyes and an open butt. Until next time, stay curious, my friends.